And then our major mainstay today is a discussion on the Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment's interview yesterday, where he has stated lots of things concerning the fact that they are going to give entrepreneurs 750 million Ghana cedis coming next year and develop the entire entrepreneurial spectrum. That is one. The number of projects that he lines up in being able to have a synergy between or among the 5 state institutions that are under his ministry. So this afternoon we have Sherif Ghali, who is the Chief Executive of Ghana Young Entrepreneurs Network, here in the studio. We've been hosting him this year. I don't think we've seen him in the studio. Sherif, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a very long time. This year, I don't think we have met.
We haven't.
But let me apologize to you first of all. We missed the program of yours. We are supposed to be a partner of you because of the space in which you are. Creating jobs, supporting the economy through the micro parts where people are not paying particular attention to the small businesses and so on and so forth. And you sent us a program. I don't know whether I didn't see it. I saw you later at the program and I was going to apologize. But forgive us.
That's fine. That's fine.
We'll follow it up and see. But what was the program exactly about anyway?
So we're launching the youth and women business reform sector. You see, there are a lot of policies that, and most of them are in a way stampeding on the success of youth and women doing business. So what we seek to do with the British Council and ICR and the European Union is that how can we come up with a national business agenda, NBA, that we can all collectively pick up as ecosystem? How can we pick this MBA that will identify the key challenges that are affecting women and youth doing business, and then the recommendations there? How can we pick those recommendations and let them influence the way we draft our new policies, the way we come up with new solutions to support young people and women? So that was basically all it's about. And we are still going to do a lot of engagement. We are still at the first phase. What we did was just the launching, and now we'll continue with a lot more of the engagement going forward.
But that means you should be interested in the government, ultimately the president's agenda of the Women's World Bank.
The bank.
The banking for women
entrepreneurs.
Where there are going to be only women managing the affairs of so the entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. The women umbrella under you and this project that you are embarking on. Have you had any engagements on that? Have you had any cause to maybe have particular concern about the setting up of the bank and how it will support the industry?
So the allocation was just made. The indication is that they are yet to engage all of us. But during the putting together of the manifesto, they reached out and some of these ideas came up and we all shared our thoughts around it. It's long overdue that we have a financial instrument targeting women. Because the problem is that it's not because women don't really have access to funding. The conditions from the traditional banks is what is affecting women.
That doesn't happen to women alone. Yesterday, I was telling the Minister of Youth Empowerment and Development about the fact that I wanted to set up a business. I went to the bank for a loan. The bank told me that you cannot have the money unless you have started the business. You need to be a startup before. No matter the idea, no matter your setup. And this was a place where we actually had the setup. We had the facilities, we had everything, but operation had not started. Give us money so we're able to start operation. They said no. I don't want to mention the banks. Eventually, when they realized that we have started and putting in monies into the account, they now called that we can now come for a loan as a startup.
So it happens to all of us. But remember, the banks themselves are business, right? And the banks need to make profit. And they need to lend wisely so that they don't go into bad lending. So that is why the bank will not give you, unless you have a bank account with them. The business is running. They have certain, flow in the business and out that they can be able to track. But you see, the reason we are saying focus on women is that for women, financing needs is totally different from your accuracy. The amount you needed, some women needed just 1% or 10% of that.
Well, I agree.
Most of these women, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 is what they need. And the conditions attached. Imagine a woman taking a 10,000 Ghana cedi and is going to pay back with over 23 to 30 something percent as at the current lending rate. It is so not good for them because they cannot be able to do anything with that money. So if this government says that we are coming out with a women focused bank that can be able to come out with financial policies and programs that target women, then for me, I think it's welcoming. Unfortunately, I think the place I wasn't so happy is the amount.
Okay, so that's the point I was
51
coming
million.
to. I mean,
And I'm like, 51 million for all those women in Ghana. But what I understand is that this is a seed funding. So whosoever will be running the bank, their responsibility, and it's not an institutional bank, right? It's a program bank. The management of this particular bank is supposed to go out and look for more funding. That for me makes a lot of sense. So yes, government is committing the 51 million Ghana cedi to their bank. Now the duty of the management is to look for more funding. If we were to solely rely on that 51 million, then it's woefully inadequate to support all the women who are doing business. So for me, I think that let's see how it's being run. Akwesi, is one thing about announcing policy, allocating money, and one thing about implementing it, right? It's a good call. Let's just wait. It is early days yet. I want to see whatever committees will be put in place to champion this. And I think that we'll have several of these opportunities to be dissecting. This year,
of course.
We are not going to sleep. We are going to watch. We are going to talk. We are going to ensure.
And you have to keep coming.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm happy about the last minute call and the fact that you've been able to.
Oh, yes. Don't worry, bro.
I mean, I know you're passionate about.
Yeah. This time around, we are going to watch every single thing. There are Jumawura.
We'll come to that anyway. We'll discuss that anyway. Yeah.
I so much believe that the formulations of those programs, if the same spirit is to be put into the implementation, I am sure Ghana would edge in some direction towards success. But let's see.
We'll come to that, but the budget entirely, as a young person, there are people who have expressed that, well, there's been specific allocation to specific programs, but the entirety of it for the youth, they didn't see that much, that specifically, especially because there is a ministry for youth development and empowerment. I mean, some of us were watching out to see what amount of money are you dedicating to George Opareado. But for the Ministry of Youth, maybe we have to go through the appendixes.
Yeah.
There is no concerted effort.
Yeah. I would beg to differ from the rest of the school of thought. I believe that this budget actually it is more youthful to me because it is only in this budget you would hear or see about 4 to 5 direct implementations on the youth, the apprenticeship, Ejumawura, and all of those things inclusive. The 1 million coders program. I would say that this budget is actually youthful. My only disappointment, which I shared sometime earlier, and I think I even shared with you, was that if you ride on the back of the fact that I am going to run a youthful government and the Ghanaian youth voted for you, and you did what you promised by giving the youth a standalone ministry, that I appreciate His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on that. And he promised that he's going to have a youthful leadership in his government. He did that. But the thing that I wasn't happy about is that when you were setting up your cabinet, then the main body, which is supposed to be a driver for youth development, the ministry was excluded. And the reason is that he's still a member. And well, for me as a youth advocate, I'm not happy about that. Despite the fact that this is more youthful, I've seen a lot of young people taking up positions, but excluding the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment out of cabinet, I was disappointed. But I trust that with the enthusiasm and the zeal at which this government is moving with their youth-centered programs, I believe that this will not just be a mention in the budget, but rather allocations will be released, and then these programs will be implemented. And hopefully, like I said, we will keep eyes on them and see how we collectively will support them, implement them very well.
I mean, the minister has very great ideas. I spoke to him
he's a brilliant guy,
last night. And let me admit that I was very impressed.
Let
me admit that I was very impressed that he personally understands the youth and how the youth should be driven. I mean, in an economy like this, I would like to speak to that.
Then I have met him. We had few discussions. To be honest, I also least expected the intelligence of the man.
I think he's solid.
I
think he's solid.
Because I actually told him that, but for me, I am not the type of youth leader that will clap so early. So I told him, bro, you need to deliver, and we will definitely clap for you. But I think that he has grown so quick. I met him the last time, and he was explaining some of the strategies in the ministry. I'm like, Come on, this is what I've been talking about. You know, how do we harmonize the work of the NYA, the NEIP?
And that's the point I'm coming to. What he is going to do.
And this is what has been lacking, Chairman, because the youth in Ghana are confused as anything. You would tell them that there are so many interventions, but if you don't know where to go for that intervention, then there's no intervention. So I was happy when Pablo told me that this is his main target. How will I get all these agencies to work together to ensure that there's harmonization, to ensure that if it is a Jumaura, they are all playing key role to ensure the success of a Jumaura. And so I love the brilliance. But like I said, we will not clap now for him. We would clap when what he's saying is what he's going to do.
I will not clap for him. I will not clap for him as well. But I'm still admitting on air that I had the engagement with him yesterday.
Brilliant.
And I've seen him on political platforms, and I've always had the feeling that, well, once it's politics,
honestly, I thought he was
people will always do politics. I mean, people will always do politics. But we had the interaction yesterday on Bottom Line in the evening, and he was very brilliant
sharp
in the exposition of his ideas and how he intends to use or champion the agenda of the youth. One of the major ones was to put up 750 million Ghana cedis specifically for entrepreneurs and startups. So we have the two of them here. Let me begin with you, Sherif. Do you know about that? And I mean, should I say ask whether you are happy about that?
Well, I know about it.
Happening this year anyway.
I know about it, but I'm not happy it's not happening this year. I think it's one of the flagship programs that Jojo Parodo himself want to bring up. From the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, every year what we do is to do an assessment of the state of youth business in Ghana. The key thing that I've been on challenge, and I think my brother will also share in that light, is the access to funding. So from, the initial engagement with Pablo, he mentioned this to me, and it was that we have a plan to do this. We want to set up a fund that can bring on more funding. You see, a lot of times government comes and bring a program. Let's say a Jumaura. A Jumaura just received only 100 million. That is even in allocation. What is a sustainability model? And that is why I told you Pablo is very brilliant, because what he told me is that it is about sustaining the initiatives. If you are giving funding to entrepreneurs on a Jumaura, it may end 2 years' time. What will sustain it? We need a fund, an independent fund that will sit somewhere with government contribution that will attract VCs, venture capitalists, angel investors like yourself to put in money there, because these monies are going to young people. And this fund will be managed by an independent body together with government and all of that. And that is what we need at the moment, especially if we want to support youth and start up doing businesses. We need that pool that a young person who has a scalable idea, a business can tap into to get the fund. But I am aware that it was not going to be successful this year. But I hope that next year we will definitely help him put in place the framework, the structures to start the planning this year.
Right. So yesterday I asked him about what people think, that all of these institutions should either be collapsed into one or be made units under his ministry so that he can have easy access and control. But in its current form, they are all going to have their boards and be able to take their own decisions on their programming and planning and so on and so forth. So yes, even though there is the central reporting point where the minister can have some level of control, they still have their boards. He thinks that in as much as that is not done yet, there still will be proper synergy. There is a portal he has started already that is getting everybody on board. That will make sure that there is no duplicity. For example, what YA does would not be the same thing that the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program will do, and so on and so forth.
Talking about the duplication of effort and agencies, there have been a lot of effort to make sure that we harmonize our organizations, and they have not been successful. The problem is that each agency is kind of struggling to have allocation on budget. So there have been that fight and tussle between agencies. We should be interested in the impact or the outcome, not necessarily whether it's Akwesi holding it or Akwesi running it. I think Pablo's strategy would work, but let's see, it is early days yet. His plan late, if he's going to follow them, will work. But my request will be that I have been saying this for the past 10 years. What Ghana needs is the youth tower. I have been to few countries where when they say this is the youth tower, when you get to the youth tower, you see the youth business desk or office. It's like NYA is there, YE is there, and all of them are there. When people are working together, imagine I'm working with you here. It will be difficult for me to come and do good afternoon program, except you are not here. I'm sitting in for you. I can't design another new program that look like this. We will definitely have to innovate because we are all here. We know what is happening. But the problem is that YE CEO is sitting there thinking of what to do to impress the government or the president of the day. National Youth Authority CEO is sitting there thinking of what to do to impress the appointing hand. Everybody wants to show Mr. President, the green letter you gave me, I have made good use of it. So what Pablo needs to do, I like that, but he has to be hard on it. He has to get all his agencies, the 5 of them, he has to define a road for them, sit them down and say, hey, this is where you are going to focus on. Entrepreneurship and startup development, NEIP. National Youth Authority, you're going to do this. YE already, your path is already clear. There's no ambiguity about that. But it is high time we started looking at bringing all of them under one roof, like a youth tower idea, where you can have all the offices. If you think the youth tower is not very important, let me give you an example. I'm from the northern part of Ghana. Who comes here having the hope that, because most of the agencies don't have offices in the regions, so they come here to look for certain support from the youth sector. They come and they go to NEIP. NEIP say, this thing, but we are not the one implementing it. They go to YE. YE say, no, but it is this people. So at the end of the day, the young person who comes from my hometown with 100 or 200 cedis will spend all their money on transportation and will not get the solution.
Just like that, right.
But if we have the same tower that all of them are, it is easy to be able to access. They should be in the same tower and serve the youth of Ghana.
I have the apprenticeship program, and maybe the coders. We may want to join.
Apprenticeship program with 300 million. Ejumawura is 100.
Yes, one of them is 300.
The other is 300 million. Ejumawura is 100. Coders is 100, and all of that. And amazing, brilliant ideas. What is already in existence that we can leverage upon? I told the minister some time ago. There's one thing mentioning it in budget and there's the other allocating. We are in this country, when programs were announced, it was read twice in one government budget and we never see anything about those. So yes, in as much as we should be happy, waiting for the money, let us ensure that whatever we can leverage now, because there are a lot of people that are looking at supporting some of these areas. You see, when government announces a budget, it involves people interest from the development partners and the rest. This is the time we should look out for some of these people to commit their fund for us to run these programs.
Right. So Sherif Ghali is the Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. This is Business Edge on Good Afternoon Ghana. Like we said to you, we are still shaping the program. And so in the course of events, you would see lots of dynamics and lots of changes. My name is Kwesi Afriyie. Thank you very much for staying with us for the afternoon. This is Metro TV. Don't change your dial. You would see a lot of actions. The entertainment review will come up shortly. Through the evening, we'll have the news and all other programs on air. Please stay with us. My name is Kwesi Afriyie. Good afternoon.